Hey guys, welcome back to KMG. I'm Kevin,
And I'm Mitsuha.
and today we are going over our Nintendo 64 top 5 list, part 1.
Yeah, so this list here today, we're going to be giving you guys our top 5 N64 games. The format that I came up with, I didn't come up with this. I was inspired by other people online who have done this. I have not told Kevin yet because it's fun and I wanted to see his reaction and I figured you guys might enjoy that. Who knows? Maybe it won't be that interesting, but what I was thinking we do, Kevin, is like one of us will start with our number 5, then the other person will say their number 5, then we'll go on number 4 and we'll each share our number 4, and we'll go that way just so we're each counting down together. And also, when we're counting down, we'll have to see how many of these we have in common. I'm interested to see that.
Okay. Okay, I like that. I like that.
Yeah. And before we get into it, if you guys have any recommendations or things you would like to see for other top 5s or top 10s, just let us know, because don't worry, we're not going to become one of those channels where that's all we do, but they are fun to do. They're fairly easy, so if you guys have any recommendations for things you'd like to see like that, just let us know and we'll probably do it. So without further ado, let's get into it.
I think I will go first.
Alright.
I think I'm going to go first. My number 5, this is probably on almost everyone's top 5 list, or up there, is Star Fox 64 for the Nintendo 64, obviously.
Oh, it's for the Nintendo 64. Wow, thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
I was so confused.
In case you didn't know, Star Fox 64 was a sequel to the 1993 Star Fox.
Wonderful game.
In Star Fox 64, players control Fox McCloud and his R-Wing as his team attempts to stop the evil scientist Andross' plans. The game's it's like a mix between free roaming and vertical.
And it's all in spaceships, right?
Yeah, it's all in space.
Sweet. And correct me if I'm mistaken, but in that game, you're told to do some barrel rolls, right?
Oh yeah.
Even though
barrel roll.
Oh yeah, though if you watch the videos online, technically you don't do barrel rolls, but that's beside the point.
Yeah,
as far as all of us are concerned, you do many beautiful barrel rolls.
It's like a side shooter.
Yeah.
You're on a rail and your ship
is
moving,
rail?
but you're free to control for going up and down and doing barrel roll.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to play that game. I just have to find somewhere to pick it up and get it. As soon as I see that for sale, though, at a video game store, I'm definitely going to get that. I cannot pass that up.
I strongly suggest you do.
As would most people that have played it, I feel. It's just that good.
It is.
But anyway, my number 5 spot I put a lot of thought into this one, and I decided that it has to go to Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Now, I wouldn't quite go as far as to say this is a hidden gem on the 64. I feel like enough people know about it. But it is one that sometimes gets left out of conversations when people talk about games like Star Fox 64. Also, I'm realizing we both have space shooters as our number 5s. That's beautiful. We have the 2 best space shooters on the system.
It's common.
Yeah. However, Rogue Squadron is a space shooter set, as I mentioned, in the universe of Star Wars. You get to control ships like X-Wings, all those beautiful ships. You get to go on many missions on different planets throughout the galaxy, fighting the Empire, destroying Imperial bases, freeing cities that have been captured by the Imperials, and it is just amazing. I remember when I first found this game as a little kid, I didn't even know I had it, and then I just found it one day in my house, and it was Star Wars, so I had to check it out, and oh my gosh, I played it for hours. It felt so amazing to get to fly an X-Wing and blow up TIE fighters and AT-STs, and it's just an incredible game. If you love Star Wars, if you love space shooters, you need to check it out.
Going off with my number 4, Bomberman 64 for the Nintendo 64.
Beautiful.
This was one of the first jumps into 3D for the 64. This game's single-player mode had an adventure mode with some platforming, if you will. As Bomberman, players navigated through 4 different worlds, I believe. 4?
I have yet to play it.
Yes.
I own it as of today, but I do need to play it.
It's 4 different worlds.
Okay.
And your goal is to collect gold cards and defeat evil Altair.
Ooh.
Not referencing Assassin's Creed.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's amazing.
The game had a lot of unique challenges. and there were different types of bombs that you would have to use to complete those challenges.
Oh.
The weird part about this platformer, I say in quotation marks, style kind of game, is that you can't jump. So when the bombs explode, there's a set detonation path that it goes. So like the normal bomb is, I believe, like 2 up, 2 down, and 2 to each side.
Okay.
And you have to run and hide between large gaps or small gaps.
So pretty much anyone that's played Bomberman is used to.
Yeah.
Okay. And I believe, isn't the multiplayer supposed to be like absolutely incredible? I believe I've heard a bunch of good things about it.
Me personally, I think this is the best multiplayer that any Bomberman game has to offer.
Okay. Well,
but that's just me personally.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to play it. Kevin and I have some plans this Saturday for an N64 multiplayer marathon. So, yeah, you and I will definitely have to play that on Saturday. I would love to try the multiplayer on it. I've heard so much good, like I said. So I definitely need to experience it, I feel like. All right. Coming in at my number 4 spot is one of the most popular games on the console, and arguably one of the most popular games of all time, Super Mario 64.
For the Nintendo 64.
Now, if you don't know what Super Mario 64 is, somehow you've been living under a rock for literal decades at this point. It's alright, you know. It's only the first 3D Mario game ever, unless you want to count Mario RPG, which I guess is 3D with air quotes. But this is the first truly 3D Mario game, and oh boy, is it amazing. It feels so good. This was the first, but it still feels so good to control Mario in the 3D worlds. You get to explore so many of them, collecting stars, fighting bosses, and trying to save Princess Peach. The levels in this game are all beautifully designed. They're very intricate. Some of them are super fun to play through. Others make me want to tear my hair out. Screw the penguins, that's all I have to say. But at the end of the day, it's an amazing game. The Bowser battles are one thing that I absolutely love. They don't change a whole lot throughout it, but I've always loved the idea of getting behind Bowser, grabbing him by his tail, and throwing him into bombs. There's just something oddly satisfying about that. And anyone that's played this game will tell you it's a must-play. The 3D Mario games are all very iconic at this point, and this is where they started at. They started strong, and it's an incredible game. I don't know what more to say.
Tipping off with my number 3.
Ooh.
My number 3 spot has to go to Super Smash Bros. 64.
I hate myself. That's not on my top 10, and I'm just now realizing that.
It's not?
No, I forgot about that. But yeah, that's not on my top 10 list anywhere. Holy cow. I'm just now realizing that. I might just have to bump one off and put that on there. I forgot that game existed earlier. Oh, I'm terrible.
Sad, sad, sad.
Yeah.
As you youngins may not know, Super Smash Bros. 64 was the first Smash Brothers game that's ever been released.
I thought Ultimate was the first.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Ultimate was the first. This is a sequel.
Yeah.
No, this is a prequel, sorry. This was the first Smash Brothers game released. But unlike all of its predecessors, this one only had 12 characters. For example, the base characters Mario, Link, Kirby, Yoshi, Samus, and Ness, and Captain Falcon. Those are just a few examples. Luigi was in there.
Yeah, they started strong with characters. They picked some good ones.
Oh, yeah. And they've been the star of all the Smash Brothers games ever since.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I haven't played Brawl, so I'm not entirely sure. But I don't believe that any of the characters from 64 were ever not included in a Smash game after that.
All the characters from 64 were included in Brawl.
Alright, yeah, that's the one game in the series I have yet to play. But yeah, no, the characters were great. The stages, oh my gosh, the stages were great too. Even these days, they hold up wonderfully.
Lively.
Yeah.
They had things going on in the background. Then for the Poke Heights, I believe that's what it's called. And they had the door open and the little Pokemon would pop out and each Pokemon would do a different thing.
Yeah, oh.
For example, Pikachu would zap you. Voltorb would explode. Clefairy would throw an egg. And that egg usually had an item in it.
Anyone that likes fighting games they've probably played that game at this point, but I know a lot of Smash fans, they all swear by Melee. No one ever seems to mention 64 though. You know, they all love Melee. They hate Brawl, which I still don't understand, and they just never talk about 64. And every once in a while someone will, but for the most part they're always either talking about Melee or Ultimate, and it's sad to see that one get, I don't want to quite say neglected because it's not that bad, but it's almost
slowly getting forgotten about.
Yeah, it's definitely, when it comes to Smash, it's more forgotten than the others, and it is sad because despite its age, it is still a wonderful game, and I would love to see it get more attention among the Smash community.
It started out the Smash community.
Yeah, it did.
It's
Without
sad to see it start leaving.
Without that, we wouldn't have the friendship ruining game that is Smash Ultimate. We wouldn't have all the broken DLC characters, most of which are from Fire Emblem, and we wouldn't have Steve in Smash.
You don't gotta call out the big N for that one.
But yeah, no Steve. That's not a world I want to live in. We need Steve, and we have him now. We also have Alex, Enderman, and Zombie, I believe.
Yes, we do.
It's good. These are good times we're living in. Anyway, on to my number 3. What was that?
It gives a little bit of light into 2020.
Yes, it does. Now on to my number 3. I'm gonna get assassinated for saying this. Kevin, if I die during the recording, you'll know why after I say this. My number 3 is The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Okay, don't. I see you all. I hear you yelling. I see you typing terrible things. Don't. Hear me out.
I might just have to assassinate you.
What?
I might just have to assassinate you.
Alright, well, you and I have both talked about another game that you know is coming up that's better than this, so you can't talk. But for all of you that are ticked, hear me out. Ocarina of Time sucks. I'm kidding. No, Ocarina of Time is amazing. It gets hyped up to no end. Many people claim that it's the best video game of all time, and I totally understand that. It's an incredible game. It's practically perfect. I have no complaints about it. But Kevin and I were talking earlier about how hype can kind of destroy games, and Ocarina doesn't quite fall victim to that too severely, but the amounts of hype it does get kind of do oversell it. It is a bit overrated. I know that's a very unpopular opinion, but there are so many other great N64 games, and when people talk about Ocarina of Time as much as they do and make it seem like some beautiful thing that was made by God himself, a lot of other games tend to get neglected and forgotten because of that, and they're not deserving of it. They don't deserve to get forgotten just because this game was so good, because there are others that are better. Believe it or not, a lot of people may not agree with that, but there are. And my number 1, and maybe in my number 2, a lot of people will see that, and some will get upset that I'm ranking those above Ocarina, but there will also be plenty of people who are like, okay, I see where this guy's coming from. Maybe he's okay. Maybe it's okay not to have Ocarina as number 1. And I think these days, a lot of people are starting to accept that. You definitely don't get as hated as you used to for not ranking it number 1 on a game list, but it's still a thing that people don't like. But anyway, I haven't even talked about the game yet. I've just talked about that. But Ocarina of Time follows Link, the hero of time, on his latest journey, latest at the time, to save the Kingdom of Hyrule. You start off as a small child who is tasked with first he has to save the Great Deku Tree from dying. That doesn't work. He was cursed by Ganon, and he dies, and it's sad. And he gives you a stone, though, and then you go get a couple more stones. It's cool. There's some pretty rocks. Nothing more than that. Definitely not magic. Then you go to the Temple of Time, put the rocks in a thing, play a song, grab a sword, time travel. Now you're an adult. Life sucks. You go out. Everything in the world is burnt and destroyed. It's kind of depressing. And then you have to do a bunch of stuff because Ganon has taken over Hyrule, and you must stop him. And of course, you do, or at least in 2 of the 3 timelines. In 1 you actually fail, but that's for another day. But it is a beautiful game. Its story and its characters, its world are so iconic at this point. Talking about them, I could talk all day without doing them the justice they deserve. It's an amazing game. if you somehow have not played it, do yourself a favor and play Ocarina of Time. You will thank me later. It is incredible.
For my number 2, I would probably have to place Pokemon Snap.
Oh, that high. Okay.
Not a lot of people. It's a cult following that it has.
Yeah, Pokemon Snap is a cult.
Very much so.
You can only take so many pictures of Pokemon before there's no turning back and you are forever a part of that cult. It's truly tragic. Kevin and I lost a friend several years ago to that very cult. They sacrificed him in the name of Charizard.
Trying to get that perfect picture. For all you people that were born before 2002, Pokemon Snap is considered a first-person shooter, if you will.
Is it really?
It's probably the most innocent first-person shooter you'll ever see or think of.
Yeah, I never would have even thought to consider it one, but I guess technically yes.
Because it's considered a first-person shooter because you're in the eyes of a photographer.
Yeah, and you're shooting.
And it's a rail shooter.
That's amazing.
You're shooting photos of Pokemon.
Oh boy.
One of my favorite parts about this is that it takes multiple playthroughs to get a picture of every Pokemon that you want to.
Yeah.
For Professor Oak, because he asked you to help him with this.
He's a bit lazy.
Just a little bit. But you're trying to get a perfect picture of every elusive, beautiful Pokemon you see out there.
If it's not perfect, Professor Oak has Snorlax sit on you.
And that is something you do not want.
I hope.
I hear from me personally.
Yeah, and Pokemon Snap is so popular, in fact, actually, that it got a sequel recently on the Nintendo Switch. I haven't seen a whole lot on it yet, but I do know...
Did it?
Yeah, check it out, man. It might not be out yet, but I know it definitely was announced. And oh boy, did that get people excited. It looks really good. I cannot wait for it. So anyway, moving on to my number 2. I'm not going to be able to talk about it much, but it is Conker's Bad Fur Day. I can hear the cheers now. This game, oh boy, I don't even know where to begin. It's one of Rare's greatest games of all time, unarguably. One of the greatest N64 games of all time. It follows Conker the Squirrel on some strange adventures, to say the least. I'm trying to think of how to keep this family friendly. But he goes on some adventures. Long story short, after doing a whole bunch of strange things, he ends up becoming the king. You know, it's all cool. There's some interesting parts of the game, one of which where you fight the Great Mighty Pooh. Everyone knows him. Oh boy, the song, the boss fight, he's an amazing character. Oh boy, this is a very interesting game because it's one of many 3D platformers on the N64, but unlike most of the other ones, which were super friendly and great for kids, this definitely was not. You can't go 5 minutes without hearing characters curse at you or throw poop at you. Yes, that happens. At one point, you even have to urinate on people. Oh boy, that's fun. And it's a very interesting game. If you want a good 3D platformer with a bunch of great comedy elements, great characters, definitely play Conker. One thing I know I love, the voice acting in this game is so bad that it's good. Like, if you've ever watched The Room, it's like that, Room, but with a video game. It's very good, and definitely one of the best games on the N64. Also one of the rarest...
best games of all time.
Yes, for sure. And it's also incredibly rare. If you want an authentic copy, it will, these days, run you over $100. That's why you do what I did and buy a repro.
It's fine. Repros are accepted.
Yeah, just don't try to pass them off as authentic. That's when you run into issues.
Yeah. See, I was going to have Conker's Bad Fur Day as my number 1.
Ooh.
But I'm going to save that for another time.
Alright.
My number 1 is GoldenEye 007. Unless you've been living under a giant floating space rock, you've heard of GoldenEye 007.
Been there, man.
Oh, you've been there under that space rock?
Yeah, 24/7. It's so bad. I'm definitely not even holding GoldenEye 007 right now in my hand, tossing it.
Nah.
Not at all.
How dare you disrespect the best game of all time?
Not like I'm throwing it. Okay,
I
now
know.
I threw it. Dang it. All right. I forgive me, God, for I have sinned.
GoldenEye 007 changed the first-person shooting genre
Yeah.
for eternity.
It defined the genre. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
it really did. It was a vertical / semi-open, meaning that you can go back and forth in the levels, and it wasn't a rail.
No, it was fairly open, yeah.
GoldenEye was known for its really good gunplay and its really good cheats and level design.
I have yet to try the cheats. Holy cow. Are they good?
Oh, the cheats are beautiful.
Yeah, all I know is I was playing through the campaign today, actually, and I was in a vent, and I shot someone that was taking a crap. It was kind of cool.
Story elements like that
Yeah.
makes this game perfect. It's all the little detail you get inside of the game itself. And then you have the multiplayer.
Don't
the
even get me
friendship
started.
ender.
Yeah.
The game that made people break mini controllers and try to break their box TVs at the time.
Yeah, we're not going to be friends after we play it this weekend.
No, we are not. Especially with big head mode activated.
Does this game have a big head mode too?
I'm pretty sure this is the first game to have a big head mode.
Oh my gosh, because I activated that on Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey not too long ago, and that was crazy.
GoldenEye is based in the city of London. It's James Bond. He's top class, and everyone that lives in London's top class, unless you're not.
Yeah, that game takes you like all over. You go all over the world. You're a spy. You are James Bond, for crying out loud. You know, as far as spies go, he's all right. He's kind of good.
Yeah, he's not the best, not the worst.
No, I've seen better.
He's a nice solid medium. Now, if you've seen Solid Snake,
yeah,
that Spy's #1.
Yeah, there we go. There's no Metal Gear
clapping.
Solid game on the 64. That makes me sad.
Fine. It saves it for a more advanced.
Yeah. Anyway, on to my number one. My number one game is Superman for the Nintendo 64. I'm kidding. That is one of the worst video games of all time. I don't know a single N64
Don't
fan.
disrespect Superman like that.
No. I take it you haven't seen. Okay.
No, I have.
Anyone who knows anything about N64 knows that hands down is the worst game on the console. So that's
anyone that's been under the sun for more than 10 seconds.
Yeah, out of the 297 games released in the US, that is the 400th worst. Like, it's so bad. But anyway, my real number one is The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Oh boy, this game is so good. It's not just my favorite N64 game, it's my favorite video game of all time. I love this game to no end. In this game, it follows Link directly after his adventures in Ocarina of Time, and it starts with him searching for his friend Navi, who, for some reason, he wants to find, even though she's terrible. But on his journey, he gets ambushed by a Skull Kid possessed by the mysterious Majora's Mask. He is then taken to the parallel world of Termina. Yes, it's a parallel world, not a dream world for all of you out there who were confused. And in this world, he realizes very quickly that he needs to hurry up and do something. Otherwise, the moon is going to fall and destroy the world in just 3 days. Not only that, but at this point, he's not even human. So he has to regain his human form and save the world from the moon in just 3 days. Obviously, this is impossible, so that leads to Link having to relive the 3-day cycle over and over and over again. It's a lot like the movie Groundhog's Day, but the stakes are way higher. And
way higher.
It is such a great game. It is super dark. This game really thrives also with its side quests. Most Zelda games focus on their dungeons and puzzles. This game focuses a lot more on the side quests.
There's so many story elements that you can get from the side quests.
Yeah, the world of Termina, which is where this game takes place, is just so incredible, and it feels a lot more alive and real than even a lot of video game worlds from these days. It was so ahead of its time, and considering the fact that it was made in roughly a year, it's practically perfect. I love it so much, and you'd better believe we're going to have a lot of podcasts dedicated solely to this game in the future.
This was the controversy that he was talking about earlier.
Yeah, see, this
he
is...
named off his number 3.
Yeah, Kevin and I both agree that this is better than Ocarina, so suck it
Oh,
all you
hardly.
Ocarina fans. Just kidding, we love you, you're cool. Ocarina's
Please
great,
stay.
Majora's just better. But anyway, I think that about does it for now. Kevin, you have anything else you want to add?
Other than a reminder that this is only part 1 of 2-part, maybe more to come.
Yeah, we'll do more N64 lists at some point. Like, there's plenty of games that we could do. We could do console variations, controller variations.
Oh, yes.
We'll do a bunch of lists and podcasts on the 64, so look forward to that. One more thing before we go. This is something that I want to throw out there. You are obviously listening to this, believe it or not, but you could be listening to this on a couple different places. You could either be listening to this on the KMG station, or you could be listening to this on the Bago Broadcasters station, because it'll be up on both. KMG is mine and Kevin's personal channel where we do all of our podcasts. We have all the ones that you can also see on the Bago Broadcasters, but we do also have more on KMG that we aren't going to plug on there because, it's our personal thing, so we can do more. But if you're checking us out on the Bago Broadcasters, make sure to check out KMG. And if you're checking us out on KMG, make sure to go see the Bago Broadcasters. They are amazing people. Without them, we wouldn't be here, honestly. They've done so much for us, and they are an absolutely incredible group of people. Other than that, thank you so much for stopping by and listening to this podcast today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let us know what your lists are like for your
Please.
N64 game ratings.
It is encouraged.
Yes, it is. If you don't do it, you're not a human. You're a terrible alien. So other than that, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.